And I want to give you a chance to respond about, now that you've had a week to think about it and think about any adjustments that you would make. What was your biggest takeaway from last week? What was on your mind?
I think just being more deliberate with choice of topic, I suppose, and just stop meandering on the calls and stay more on the straight line. Get back to where I want the call to go instead of where they want it to go.
Yeah. And it's a tough art form to balance the two. You certainly have to let people have their process. So they do need to go where they need to go. But that also gives you some great feedback where you can then react, but still go back to your beaten path. And I did chat with Sarah, Tarek, and Steve about this a little bit and said, look, I think one of the most important things that we can do as marketers is give you a fuller understanding of what is arriving at your desk and what to whom you're speaking, because context is going to matter in a big way. That's beat number one. Beat number two, though, is to supply you with that, to not let them wag you, and you meet your goal on that telemarketing call, and you not to snap back into this muscular approach, meaning you're doing it on muscle, not formula. You have to have those beats in front of you. You have to know what they are. You have to really know what that outcome is. And so I think the fullest expression is, okay, going back to yours, if you go back to what that was, I can't remember the context, Sarah and Dave. What was it again? She arrives because she called on, what was it? An open house?
It was a flyer.
Okay, a flyer. So the flyer went out, and what I said to Sarah last week was, what did the flyer say? And there was not that you were confused, Sarah, but it didn't roll right off your tongue as if I'm sending this flyer, it's saying this message, they came in off of this message, I gave that lead to Dave, Dave knows what message he needs to speak to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So going back now, what was the message that she responded to?
She wrote an email to us in regards to the flyer, saying, because the flyer had advertised that we have buyers looking in the neighborhood, and she had responded saying, I'm going to be looking to sell my home on my own. If you have buyers, fantastic. I'd love for them to see my home.
Right. And
here's some pictures.
Right. And as we went through your call, we never really discussed that. It never really came up. I mean, it did sort of, but not really. And I think therein lies the problem that a lot of us have been making for years. Not your problem, Dave, but us as marketers who are feeding you. I mean, we see this pile of leads and we expect somehow that everybody's reading everybody's mind. We're all reading each other's mind, that you're supposed to know exactly what's being said in a marketing context. And that's not right. If you don't have the flyer in front of me, you can't have in front of you, you can't really have a conversation with me, can you? Hey, I saw that you called on what? What did you call on? Right? I mean, you can't refer to it as a flyer. Hey, I saw that you called in on one of our marketing pieces regarding off-market buyers looking for off-market properties. And it sounds like maybe you're a candidate for that. Is that right? So that reestablishment of why you're in contact with them, I think, is extremely important, right? It's very important. If you don't anchor that back, hey, I saw that your beautiful house online and I saw that it expired. There's another context. Hey, I saw that you're the administrator of an estate. So all of this is context, and if you don't establish that, my gosh, I mean, how do you go on to the next beat? Make sense?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I think that's what's really important here is that we need to make sense early on. Otherwise, I think, Dave, that's the problem that sets you up where you begin to meander. One of the greatest quotes I ever heard was, why would you be a wandering generality when you could be a meaningful specific?
I love that.
Okay? Zig Ziglar. I'll repeat it. Why would you want to be a wandering generality when you could be a meaningful specific? So the more meaningfully specific you can be about this gal's situation, the more interesting you are. And again, I think you get away with it a little bit more in Canada through politeness. And there are parts of the United States where people are polite, Minnesota, the Midwest, etc. Whereas as I was listening to it with my team, I was concerned to make sure that, anybody in the Northeast where we're angry and we don't even know why, and defensive and, big cities, people can be overly studied and overly insecure because of it. I mean, we find that in Boston versus Cape Cod. So there's a lot of variables here that it's very important to be able to get that establishment of context and that you're there to help quickly. So you don't allow for all of that other noise to grow in this telemarketing moment, because it will. It will kick the door down. Oh, what are you calling me for? All that starts to come up. So it's not that we're trying to memorize something and just, really go quickly. You follow me? You tracking me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Adam, I don't know why your audio died. We're fine here. So the point is that we have to give context quickly. And that's the first adjustment, that thinking back to what you did. But then it's like, where are you at? And I went through this with Autumn yesterday. I haven't had a chance to really train her until we got this 14, 15 weeks under our belt, where now I can say, okay, like you, the system really mattered, because I went out to an appointment. The guy wasn't there. Okay. I got into the houses even though he wasn't there. And I thought it's smart to leave the marketing package behind, but I didn't take the beat to think that the thing that needed interpretation was also in there, meaning the math. And so he looked at it, and she called to follow up to see if he could get in, and he'd already made his own interpretation. He'd given me complete dialogue that I never had with the guy. Oh, well, you thought it was $1,030,000 and I'm disappointed. We never said a word. So see, people will create a conversation in their own head from the minute before you call them, after you call them, while you're talking to them. So the reason for a formulaic approach to lead them to a conclusion is for their own safety and benefit, right? Otherwise, they will use their own perceptions to cast upon you how your business works. Precisely why I use the terminology, don't let the tail wag the dog. You're the dog, they're the tail in the conversation. However, having said that, in an altruistic way, you are truly there to help them. And sometimes you have to grab somebody by the lapels to help them. You cannot allow them to run away with the conversation because they're just hurting themselves. Does that help?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's the point here, is that we really need to pay attention to, you're the boss here to help them. So now if we went back to that, I'm not going to break it all down, but if we went back to that, it would be, hey, Dave, Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group. Reason I'm calling is because you had written us an email regarding our buyers in waiting program, where it sounds like you're off market at the moment and you wanted to see if we could match one of our buyers up with you. Sounds great. Tell me a little bit about your situation. When are you thinking about moving? Right? Well, here's what we're doing. We're moving down the street, just like she said. Oh, great. Did you already buy a house down there? Yes, we have it under agreement. Super. So there's an urgency to sell. Yes. On a scale of 1 to 10, you're a 10. Got it. Super. Tell me a little bit about the house. Well, it's a 2-bedroom. It's a 3-bath. Wonderful. Sounds fabulous. When did you buy it? What'd you pay? Same thing. Now I'm just going to go into this onboarding process of the seller qualifying questions. Because no matter what the context is, I'm now back to my formula where I'm qualifying the seller. Doesn't matter whether I'm going to list it or not. I still have to follow this. Everybody wants to rush process. Don't rush process. Get a good, solid seller qualifying questionnaire so you have rooted out for the outside sales department who will be waiting for this appointment all the specifics you're able to garner, so that the quality of the moment that they're entering goes up a level. Or a bunch of levels. Make sense, Dave?
Yep.
Okay. So that's why I said you were there. I mean, look, at 9-10 minutes, I know you get the yes to the appointment, but it's not as a clean of a setup. Hey, I saw that you called on this, and you called about our buyers in waiting. Wonderful. Let me pre-qualify you to make sure you're a real seller before we get excited about our buyers coming to your house. Let me find out about the product. Okay, wonderful. When can I have an outside sales agent come over to take a look at it? Because that's the next logical thing. Whereas you launched off into a diatribe about me, which I know you've been trained to do, which I asked Sarah and the boys to stop training you to do that. Don't do that because we're not even there. Now, if the outside sales agent is to go in, they reiterate once again why they're there. Hey, you were interested in our buyers and waiting program. Here I am. I'm Danny. I know you talked to Dave on the phone. I'm the outside sales specialist. You mind if we go for the nickel tour of the property before we discuss it? Same thing as I would do with an expired, identically. I want to go through the property. Hey, remember, you told me on the phone you paid, what'd you pay? Oh, $750? Great. And then you did, I see in my notes here, you did the bathroom over. Great. Let's make sure we do that. And you told Autumn you had some receipts? Oh, super. So the reason I'm asking these questions while we go through the nickel tour is because I'm going to get these questions from our buyers in waiting, or any buyers for that matter. Wink, wink, plant the seed that you might be a great listing agent. And you're demonstrating this dramatically by going through the house through a process. You're controlling it, and all of a sudden, by controlling the process, they gain a sense of what? Your professionalism. And that's precisely what your unique selling proposition is supposed to be about. Your professionalism, the company's professionalism. Wow, on the phone they said this. When they came, they did what they said they were going to do. And when they were here, you know what? I was scratching my head at the end of it going, why am I listing it by myself? What am I thinking? He's right. The neighbors who did do it, they didn't do it on their own. And you know what's cool? These guys let me retain the right to do it on my own while they also did it. So there's all these solutions that if you're trying to do all of that on the phone, I'm not saying you're dead, because that's an absolute statement. There's always a chance that you can overcome it. But you certainly didn't help yourselves be in the best position when outside sales arrives to potentially list the property, because you haven't allowed that consumer to have their process to morph from, I'm going to sell it myself. And I don't really want to pay a listing commission, but I'm more than happy to pay the buy side. And I heard you have buy sides. Normal. It's a very normal reaction to the offer that somebody would have. So now when outside sales comes, now they sit down and say, great, let me just go over this with you a little bit, because now we have to establish value. You told us that you thought the property was worth this, and you got it because of this comp down the street. Seems reasonable, but we also did an analysis. Here's what the analysis says for a range. You could trade in this sort of a range to our buyers in waiting or any buyers. Here we go again. And by the way, I don't know if anybody took the time to go through a net sheet for you on this, but we did so. And by the way, I know you're only thinking about paying a half a commission. I put a full commission in here so that you could see what full service cost would look like. So what I've done is I've just controlled the entire process. I'm not fretting and not getting defensive that she said she's going to do it herself. I'm just going to go through my process. And what that will yield is, do I have a good off-market property I can leave, take some pictures with or whatever, and blast it out to my buyers in waiting and say, hey, off-market property, here you go. And now I've done a service to my buy side, legitimately. See, Sarah, you can't make that offer and then not have that whole process ready to go. It's a huge mistake most people that I've ever coached in this industry, including myself, have made. Don't make an offer that you can't fully back up all the way through. Make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah, cool. Dave, makes sense taking you through that whole process so that you see it?
Yep.
And Dave, good news. It's always the same. Always. The only thing that changes is the context, but the muscle of the system, the bone structure of the system, they stay functioning the same way. You qualify this seller as if she's any kind of a seller with the seller qualifying questionnaires. You pass that off to OSA with that full description of what they're walking into. Then the OSAs are trained to walk in and stick to the dang formula. Can I have a nickel tour? Can we sit at the dining room table to discuss this? Let me take you through my 7 steps. Let me divulge a little bit further into marketing. Let me show you the analysis in the range you might be in, and let me give you your net sheet. Done. It's just a dance of beats. And if you stay in those lanes, it still allows for a better individualistic process on top of it, because they want to talk a little bit more about marketing. No problem. They love staging. They've been watching HGTV. No problem. But I'm rooted. I'm hanging on to the bones while they go into a little bit of a tangent with me. Then I bring them back. Great. Now that we've talked about staging for 20 minutes, let's get back to the next piece. I can rattle through it. Right? So it definitely allows for individuality. It allows for you to hear the other side fully, but it does never take you away from the process. All right. So now with that as a backdrop, let's go into these other two calls looking for this, everybody. By the way, Donna, you with me out there too? Donna, Kayla?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Awesome. Hi. Kayla?
Yes, I'm hi.
Awesome. Fabulous. Ladies, welcome. And Adam, tell me again, the first name of your telemarketer is, I forgot. You can post it in the Facebook group, Adam, or you can say it to me now. I want to recognize everybody because you all asked me. Thank you. Adam? Okay. Anybody working with Adam Kuchik? You can identify yourself. That'd be awesome.
Yes, I'm Jessica.
Hey, Jessica. There it is. Sorry. I will never forget it again, Jessica. Ever. Jessica, I hear you. Awesome. You're the best. Faster than Adam. I like it. Ladies, could we open a window for a cross breeze since we can? We'll die in here today. All right. So there we go. Adam, you're too late. Jessica stepped up all by her lonesome. I like it. All right, ladies, any questions about what I just went through, since I'm trying to orient you all there and short of role playing, which is fine, but I'm not really a huge role play guy. I'm more like, let's listen to some real stuff. Oh, hello. Let's listen to some real stuff and break it down. It was a duck. Someone just ran over a duck while they were listening to the phone call. All right, ladies, questions or thoughts there for me? Anything?
Come on, ladies.
No? Nothing?
Danny, this is Donna.
Hi.
I remember a couple weeks ago when Autumn first started talking about this script, and I remember writing it down at the time.
Yeah.
I do have a question because I did have situations where I spoke with people and they put me off for a month or two because they are going through construction.
Awesome.
When you say, or when Autumn says, can you, do you mind if he stops by because we just like to get the nickel tour? Where did nickel tour come from?
Okay.
Where do you get that?
Yeah, it's an old fashioned saying.
I was wondering if I was
it's a very,
silly.
and that's just, it's my language. Could you give me a tour of the property? However, let me give you the context. That's my language personally that I picked up somewhere along the way. And the expression means, can you just give me a quick tour of the house? I don't need you to go through and overindulge me in the property and everything. Yeah, it is a carnival turn. It's actually a fair, the nickel tour of whatever it was. It comes from there. Can you
okay.
Yeah. Can you Google that? We'll get true reference for what it is, but it's a reference to just the quick tour, the cheap tour. Just give me the nickel tour. Don't give me the $1 million tour. You don't have to sell me on the house. I need to go through this because I just really need to see the features and benefits of this property as it stands today. Because we're going to discuss, I'm going to give you advice based on what I see, quite frankly, right? So, but that's me. That's me physically in the house. Coming back to what Autumn would say. Let's say that a package goes out or an offer is made and a package goes out and they're trying to vet us. Hey, I went over the property with Danny. He'd love to stop by. Well, we don't want him to stop by yet because we're going to do some fix-ups. Well, no, that's exactly when he wants to come by because he doesn't think you should start doing fix-ups without guidance because a lot of sellers think that they're doing things to enhance the sales value and they're doing it without any guidance from somebody who actually knows what buyers want. And we might be able to save you a whole heck of a lot of aggravation, money, time, and energy if we just come over. It's no obligation. It's free. And it'll give them just a quick look at this and get some free advice on what to do and what not to do. It's just logic, right? It's very logical.
Got it, right.
Donna, I'm always after logic because logic is the truth, right? It's an Einstein philosophy.
Right, and I don't know why, because this is obvious, but I kind of forgot that they would be doing construction because of the selling.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I was just thinking, they have some plumbing or something to take care of.
Well, Donna, it's an excellent point to bring up because to tie it to this is where I'm so thrilled you brought it up because you don't really know what you're selling, do you? You don't. It's a rhetorical question, by the way. None of us in the telemarketing department really know what we're selling. And that's this huge epiphany that I've had recently, that my own telemarketer sitting 3 feet away from me doesn't know what she's selling. And that's what I do in the house. She needs to know that. So I need to go over that with her, which we did in earnest yesterday, where the three of us really sat down and said, whoa, wait, you don't know what you're selling. And here's the biggie. You're selling the next level of what you told them you're sending them. Meaning, hey, sounds like, you don't know who we are. So let me send you out a package that Gail and I put together that explains who we are and how we do what we do with sellers. Would that be okay? May I do that? This is permission marketing. And they say yes, because it's logical. Why would they say no to free information about helping them get their house sold? Hey, look, with or without me, whether you choose Gail or not, let me send you something that will help you get your house sold. So we send them out a fistful of sales around them with pictures and details and our 7-point step and just a hello, here's who we are. Now they get online and they Facebook search Gail, they Google Gail, they go to Gail's website, they do whatever they do to further vet, or they just look at the materials. Now they sit there and nothing happens. That's when you, Jessica, and the rest of the telemarketing crew, that's when you all pick up the phone and say, hey, did you get the package? Did you get a chance to go through it? Hey, by the way, I was talking to Gail. I was talking to Danny. And they'd love to stop by to take a peek at the property and tell you what to do and what not to do to get prepared. Because if you read the booklet, you'll see that pricing is the most important thing. But what can here's a key line for you, Donna. What can positively affect where you will be in the price range is how you condition and stage the property. See, Donna, everybody wants to rush to controlling us. We're having it happen in our own office right now. Well, send me a 2 to 3 page marketing report. Whoa, wait a minute. Marketing's only one step in a 7-step process to make a market for your property and get it sold. It's one step. We haven't even discussed with you how pricing mechanisms are far more Trump powering than I meant Trump card. I'm not being political, by the way. You can trump everything else in the process by the wrong price. I don't care how good somebody's 17-page marketing plan is, which is BS, by the way. If the price is not right, you got a real problem there. See where I'm coming from? That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay, stay with me in the hot seat.
Yes.
Okay. So
did you
go ahead.
How did you say that exactly? You said what can positively affect the price of the property?
Yes, if you
is how you market and stage the property.
Do you have an infographic in front of you with the 7 steps in a pinwheel? Have you ever been trained on that by Gail?
Yes, I have, and I don't have it in front of me because I am not in front of my computer.
No sweat.
I will get that in front of me, and I will ask her about it.
Here's the deal. I will get you all on that. There's no campfire until next week, Thursday at 3 ET. This is precisely why I do a bi-weekly call on the basics, okay? The basics are, in our TRC philosophy, the Realty Classroom, that we believe there are 7 universal steps to selling a property. The first one is pricing it right inside the right range. Nobody has a rabbit in a hat. This isn't pricing it right bingo. You don't walk in and tell them what it's worth. That's delusional. Okay, you try to find a price range within which this could trade. That's Wall Street language. This could sell within a certain range. The next thing is conditioning. Conditioning is the number one thing that will affect the first stage price. So if I'm going to give you advice, I'm going to tell you, look, I came to your house and you want the high end of the price range, okay? So what you need to do is you need to paint the outside. You need to clean your gutters. You need to edge your beds. You need to put black mulch in, get some flowers out there, and I haven't even gone inside yet. Your roof is no good. That's gone. So if you're not going to replace it, we need to get one of our contractors out here to price it in advance. That's how quickly I could show somebody they have no idea what they're talking about conditioning, unless they are in the top 2-3% of the people who are always maintaining their property. And when you arrive, it is killer perfect. Okay. So when you look at that infographic, which I'm staring at right over here, it should be up on yours too. So, so I'm staring at it on the telemarketing board.
I have it memorized.
Laura does have it memorized like I do. I was teasing her off camera. But for Autumn, who's in the heat of the moment on the phone, she needs that in front of her forever, no matter how good she gets. And I'll tell you why. If you don't have it visually in front of you, the problem is, as a veteran, you cheat it. You cheat it. You go away from it. I freak out like a Rain Man when I go out and my package going into the house is screwed up and it's not in a particular order. They will tell you that because I have become so institutionalized by my own system. I know I'm doing a disservice to the people. So until you get down what you're selling, say, look, Gail has a 7-step process that she's going to take you through. Okay. And I heard you were asking me, how do we market it? That's one of the steps she's going to dive into with you. That's it. You don't go further. And last week we saw that on Dave's call where Dave was trying to go too far into it. He touched upon it, but he said, look, here's the deal. We have a 7-step process that we take all our sellers through. Now, I know you're looking for one of our buyers, but you need to understand what our process is for helping you sell this off market. It's the same one of you as if you were going to list with me. No different. So when we come in there, one, we're looking to see if the house can match up to what you say it does, number one. And number two, can we match it with one of our buyers in waiting? But while we're there, we'll share our selling philosophy with you because you think you're going to do it by yourself, knucklehead. So we'll give you all our best stuff for free. It's a gift, right? See where I'm coming from, Donna?
Yeah.
But it's that confidence that a basic structured system that I'm going to give to them gives me and allows me to train you, Kayla, Jessica, and the whole team up in Ottawa in this one way because it's universal. There's nothing whacked out and unique in some bizarre statement. It's like, look, there's 7 steps to selling a house. You could argue with me and you could tell me, well, I think you could combine these or do it. Well, whatever. There's a universal methodology that every house goes through to get sold. It's just that nobody ever productizes it. And that's what you're selling on the phone. Say, look, we have a service that we take our sellers through. It has 7 steps. You'd be crazy not to let Gail in the house to take you through it. Because the worst thing that will happen is you're going to walk away with a great education. Yeah, but I want to do some things before you come over. Look, you're not going to sell Gail by doing a few things. In fact, it's the opposite. You should have Gail come through and coach you on what to do and what not to do because you're going to save you time, energy, and money by telling you what will affect the sale. You see, Donna, most people will do fix-ups in advance of a sale based on their perception of what will enhance the value. Well, they're guessing. Why wouldn't you have a pro come in, right? You know, it's like a young athlete like my son trying to prepare to become a great hockey player. Well, if he goes into the gym and he says, well, I saw a couple guys doing this and that, and he gets it wrong, and then all of a sudden he's wondering why it's not working out, it's because the guidance wasn't there. So you are selling guidance. Follow me? So what you're doing? You're selling guidance. So if you don't know how to productize that guidance, meaning you don't have that infographic, which is a physical manifestation of that guidance, let Gail do the rest of the selling. Like I told Dave, let the outside sales do the rest of the selling on the system because now it's at a next level. It's kinesthetic. I'm in the room. It's 3-dimensional. They see the sales force and they go through this process. But just as importantly, after you do all this hard work, Gail has to go in, which she does, by the way. She's like me. She's institutionalized by a system. She goes in and she gives the system just the way she said. Now, most of you other people that have outside sales agents or well, I go in and I give it 90-minute to 2-hour presentation and you bang your chest and say, and it works. And Griffin, you're not going to tell me any different. I did the same. Plead guilty. I did the same. That is not the best process for the consumer, I found out. The best process is an Einstein philosophy. The shorter I can say something on the phone to get to the appointment, but still be effective and not have left anything out, that's Einstein. Make it the simplest it can be without being too simple, meaning you left something out that leaves them clueless. Same thing in the house. Make the process. Now, Donna, here's where the nickel tour thing comes in. It sets me in the process. Thanks for having me over. We really appreciate it. Before we sit down and chat, would you mind taking me for the nickel tour of the house so I can see what we're talking about? Boom, off we go. Now I'm looking for all the positive attributes. I see the negatives, but I don't need to sit there and talk about them out loud. I have my chance when I talk about conditioning to discuss them. So see where I'm coming from? Every time I'm in the system, I feel relaxed. I'm just going through the process to serve them the best that I can. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
And you have to be connected to that because that's what you're selling. And if you just use technique and tactic to trick somebody and get Gail in the house, now she comes in flat-footed and has to sell on muscle herself to get caught up. Autumn's handed me off several presentations that were smooth. But even when we had 2 smooth ones, then the next one I went out, there was 2 key critical pieces of information missing. And I knew immediately, and I was thrown off. Because the minute I pulled up in the driveway, I opened up my stuff, I looked for my quick narrative, a piece was missing there. I opened up my booklet, a piece was missing there. So in our own office, we are now adhering to checklists, right? For everything, every time, because there's too much going on. So you have to stay to the checklist. All right, let's move off of that. Jessica or Kayla, any questions about that? Thoughts?
This is Kayla. I just wrote down the selling guidance in big letters on my notes.
Yeah. Well, if you go watch, it might still be up there, but I really like Donald Miller's storybrand.com. Okay, he might still have a giveaway. There's a formula in every Hollywood movie that you've ever seen where there's a hero of the story and then the supporting actor is the guide, right? Actor, actress is the guide. We make the huge mistake thinking that we are the hero of the story in this case. It's a massive mistake in business. The hero is that person, in your case, Kayla, on the other end of the line. So you're the first introduction to the productization of guidance through buying or selling property. You're it. You enter the scene first. Think about that. So in other words, here we have this lady in Dave's case who enters the scene as the heroine of the story, right? She's the one that has a problem. This is Hollywood 101. She enters with a problem, has to try to sell it on herself and move. That's the problem. Enter Dave, the first supporting actor on the phone, who enters. He reveals the problem to the audience by talking through her. So why are you moving? What's going on? Really? He asks the provocative dialogue, and now the problem is revealed to the audience. Now Dave begins to say, you know what? There's a way that you can do this, and here's the way. That's his plan. So you have the hero, you have the guide, and the guide introduces the plan. Now, of course, somebody else has to go in and further explain the plan in our movie, and that's the outside sales agent. We get it listed, we get it sold, there's the happiest of endings, right? That's the formula. There's no rocket science to it, but we complicate it by trying to get all worked up. Ladies, you should never be sweating on a phone call. There will be people that swear at you, hang up on you, yes, because that's their emotional state, which is presently out of control. So if we can work on technique and tactic that is guide-driven, not muscle-driven, watch how things change. I saw your beautiful house online. That brings somebody state. Tony Robbins is big about talking about state. Donna, by the way, Gail's a huge Tony fan. You change their state by referencing something beautiful that belongs to them or what it's about. It's a state changer. It's not a patronization either. It's just a state changer. And I saw that it didn't sell. That's context. And I saw that you wanted a home evaluation from us, right? Whatever it is. So I'd like to send you out some information that will help you get it sold. May I do that? So I have the plan I want to get to you, and I'm going to ask permission. I'm not going to deal from a position of scarcity. I'm going to ask your permission to give you my plan, which is insane logic. Who says no to that? Because I haven't asked for anything. I have set up a gigantic give of guidance, my plan. I've never asked for anything. There's no defensive. I don't have to feel like I got to spit this out. I'm not using bizarre trigger language that agitates them. Keep them talking. Keep them talking. What do you mean keep them talking? I mean, if they want to talk, sure. I just want to introduce who we are, why we're calling, what we have for them, and get their permission to give it to them. All these things are the way we all want to be treated in a sales context. Ladies, you got it all? That good? A nervous laugh, meaning, wow, that was a lot. I get it, but I'm going to go over it and over it and over it. All right?
Yeah.
So here we go. I'm going to listen to some real calls. Sarah's call is up first. Here we go.
Hello?
Hi, this is Iman.
Speaking.
Hi, Iman. How are you? It's Sarah calling with Remax. We spoke a few weeks ago. You had requested information on the value of your property, and I was just going to get some details of your home so I can put together a report and send it to you. I have just a few other comparables in your neighborhood to kind of give you an idea of what you could potentially sell for. How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms are you?
4.
Okay, so 4 bedrooms and 3 full bathrooms?
2 and powder room.
Okay, so
like one in the master bedroom and another one, and then in the powder room.
Okay, perfect. And what's the style of home? A single detached, a bungalow?
Single detached.
And is there a garage?
Yes.
Okay, how many cars?
That's it, 2 vehicles.
2-car garage?
1 door, but it fits 2 vehicles.
Okay, perfect. So 2 spots for a car. And the base, finished, unfinished?
No, unfinished.
Unfinished, okay. Any major renovations that could
I have all the kitchens. Like, I have all the kitchens, ceramic and also granite. I'm sorry, English is not my first language. The countertops are
like granite?
Yeah. And I have also wooden floor in the living and in the dining and in the also another room. I have 2 so outside. That's it. I don't think I have.
So you have hardwood and carpet throughout?
In the first floor, it's a carpet. In the second floor, no, I don't have any carpet. It's ceramic and wooden floor.
Okay. What year was the home built?
When?
Yeah. What year was it built?
We took it to January 2009. 2008. Sorry. January 2008.
Okay. But you're not the original owners, were you?
We're the first owners.
Oh, you're the first owner. So you bought brand new then?
Yeah.
Okay. What builder then?
Claridge Home.
Claridge. Do you remember what model?
Paris? Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So what I can do is I'm going to pull up other homes in the area, similar to yours, based on the sales, to kind of give you an idea. Now, what was the reason you were thinking out the value? Are you folks thinking of making a move?
I think so, but again, it depends, right? It depends on like how. I know it's the best time right now. It's in August. So it's going to be our, right? If we would like to sell, correct?
Well, I mean, the market has been very, very steady. The whole year since the March, since spring has even started. Usually, typically, springtime is when it starts up, and then around when school finishes is when things kind of slow down. But it's just been consistent all the way through. But that's just the way the forecast has been. A lot of people think, oh, it's going to end, but with the way that we've been seeing it, how consistent the market has been, it's just gonna stay like that. It's just the way prices go up with certain things. It's inflation, and that's just the way it is. I mean, we just hit 1 million in Ottawa, I think last month, and that just goes to show you that people are happy staying here. People are moving into the city. We're a government town, so I mean the marketplace has been very, very good. Have you given thought to where you want to move to? Do you like the area you're in now?
Yeah. It's going to be in the same area, but
right.
But maybe a bigger one.
Okay. So how big is your family then? Do you still have kids that are in school right now?
Oh yes, I have 3 of them. These are my family. Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you think finding out the value of what you could sell for, do you think that will help you at least kickstart a decision?
Yeah, perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah, you know what? I think what we can do is, because we do offer free in-home evaluations, that way we can give you a more concrete number. At the same time, I mean, your home is fairly new. What we can also do is take a look and see, based on recent sales, we can bring those comparables with us to show you the low end and the high end. If you want to serve the high end, this is what it's going to look like. Do you have any time free in the next couple of days or even over the weekend?
No, not before. No, it's going to be next week, definitely.
Sure. Why don't we set up something in the calendar for next week? I'll call you the day before to make sure that it's still good for you.
Okay, give me a second here.
Is the rest just booking a time, Sarah?
Yeah, the rest. Yeah, it is. She's just looking at the calendar.
Okay. All right. Let's take it from there. I have some thoughts about this.
Go easy on me.
Yeah. After Dave. Dave wants me to start swinging.
Have at her.
So here's the deal. There's a lot of good meat to this. There's a couple things, just you personally being coached by me in the past, much better with the pace. You're still a fast talker, but you were much more patient, allowing her to respond to things. I think I sense it was effective, meaning it worked in the beginning, where you cut right to the chase and just assumed that since she asked for this thing, that you would just go right into the questions. I found it personally to be a little bit rushed and abrupt, but she played your game. So tough to critique something when it's effective, but I would say be cognizant of that moment. It's probably not going to work like that with everybody because you really didn't acknowledge her. You didn't give her a chance to breathe and say, yes, I did, or no, I didn't, right? And you went right into it. So you got away with it on this call. I'd be curious if you wouldn't listen to some of your own calls and see if you get away with that on a regular basis, right? It's just rushed. And I get why people do it, because they're like, look, finally I got somebody to answer the phone. I got to get these questions asked, blah, blah, blah. Our mind is going that fast, and you've done a good job at slowing yours down. I just found that beat to be a little bit abrupt. Right? We're looking for this human connection. On the tail of what I was saying earlier about guidance, you're really setting up a relationship here. And you sounded extremely, you almost sounded like an order taker, which you're not. Your talent level to speak, I mean, you have such a beautiful speaking voice. I'd love to hear it slowed down. It's extremely engaging. So slow it down a little bit. And let the banter, don't be in such a hurry. You sound like you're in a hurry to me, okay? That's just one observation in the beginning. The next observation is, like Dave, there are some really weird word whisker moments where you're stretching out information that is not, you started off well. What? Tell me about the house. Boom, boom, boom. You're hitting all the beats. Oh, it's new. It's this. Okay, great. Wonderful. So you did that. Why are you thinking about selling? Let that linger out there, right? Let it linger. Let this lady wrestle with this a little bit out loud with you, right? Because she never really had a chance to indulge into why are you doing this at all? So, you said, are you asking for this evaluation? Why are you asking for it? Just go right to the point. Why are you thinking about selling? Right? Just ask. Why are you thinking about selling? Because if somebody's asking for home evaluation, unless they tell you it's for an appraisal purpose, they're thinking about selling. So just, why are you thinking about selling? Really? On a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you? See, like all of these questions that over time I've learned to ask, cut to the very heart of the matter, and you avoid all those word whisker conversations, right? So, I mean, I asked Laura, when I said, when you were talking, could she please grab me a sheet? And we even see that we have the right sheet now because we had some old ones over there. That's how quickly we evolved this based on what the consumer's saying to us, right? So here's the order of things. Perfect. Asking about the property. Those are the right questions. Why are you thinking about selling? On a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you to sell? Well, she kind of got in there, but you never really got a chance to have her dig in deep with a better question. She said, well, it depends on the price and the time. Well, see, there we go. She's creating a perception of when she should sell. She's not even talking about why. Somewhere down the line, you got her into a bigger house. Why? You made a presumptive, rushed, later on, you rushed her. Why, do you have kids? Do you have cool kids in the school system? Like, you were almost putting words in her mouth. You got to let this lady have a process here and allow her to read her mind out loud, because you're plenty effective. But see, she's now at this appointment where there's, I'd be freaking out with some of these answers not done yet. Now, you could always come back and get them, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated? When did you buy it? Oh, you're the original owner? Great. What'd you pay for it way back then? Have you upgraded it since then? What now? Here's where we learn some of the stuff because they want to express their emotions, right? What's the best feature of the home? Why do you like living there the most? We've gotten some really interesting answers about that. And so that when I go into the home, I'm able to recognize that this is a tough transaction. You've been here since the beginning. Are you sure you want to do this? Because I see that you love this house, right? It's not a takeaway. It's a genuine asking. Are you ready for this? Like, this is a really difficult thing you're asking somebody to help you do, right? So now you want the right price. What do you think the property's worth? She already said to you, with the right price, well, what do you think it's worth? And she's going to just reveal that to you. What's most important to you about selling your home? The timing, whatever she says. Have you interviewed anybody else or gotten a home evaluation from anybody else? When is it convenient? Do you see how much meat was still in that conversation, Sarah?
Yeah.
There's just a ton of meat left. And I don't know the answers to those questions. So if I'm going out there as an outside sales agent, I'm going to now have to do a lot of discovery. You had this gal easily. She was going to answer pretty much anything that you asked her. So now it becomes, how do you make the burgers at that office? And it needs tightening. Sarah, Corey, that's for you, right? And we talked about it from Dave's call to this one. Here's 2 extraordinarily good orators on the phone. They are extraordinarily good. One was stretching out too far. The other one was rushing and stretching. And I know why. It's because they're not following a formula that allows them to be a better guide. A better guide asks good questions about why we're going on this journey to begin with. And what is the climber or the hero thinking? What are you thinking? Why are you doing this? I've gotten the pertinent questions about the property. We'll get the best. And Sarah, go back to this. You kept reiterating, we're going to take some pictures of properties that sold like yours. So what?
3 times.
So 3 times. So what? So what? You don't even need to go over that. That's not important unless it's expressed quickly. Great. Here's what's going to happen next. We're going to send somebody over who's going to come over with pictures and details of properties that sold around you, show you how that affects your value, and also show you our 7-step plan for getting you the max value, which you've asked for. You started to say, well, if you want the high end, if you want the loan, what? Why are you having that conversation? Right? That's confusing to me. So there's a lot of things in here that are very easily fixed. And again, I can see you all need to be on next Thursday's campfire, and I will go through the seller course again as it relates to this so that you know the value. We'll do buyer, 2 weeks after that. But seller is critical here because I can see you all aren't really attached to what you're selling in that moment when somebody arrives, okay? And Sarah, Corey, you need a better seller qualifying questionnaire, and you need to stick to it. You're going to hear all these problems get tightened up. I'm not saying go away completely, but tightened up. Cool?
So she was reading the seller qualifying questions, right, Danny?
I don't know what questionnaire she had, but it certainly wasn't the one, Gail, that we've adopted over time in the group, right? Because over time in the group, we've just worked so hard for so many years, not hours, but years, to try to ask in order the best questions, Gail, that have these people arrive at the feeling that they have co-created the appointment with us. There's a big difference if somebody says yes to an appointment and they have co-created it, Gail. They will support it in the house way better. I want to overemphasize that point.
Yeah, and if you follow those questions, you're not putting all that other information in there that's irrelevant to us getting the appointment. I think that's really important because money is the water.
Correct.
It's stuff that they're going to think about later, and that isn't good.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I think
to
empower,
that's my thought on it.
Gail, I totally agree. And that's spoken like a true outside sales agent who actually does the job like you and I. You and I know how we arrive in these houses, and we know how, as veterans of doing a lot of them, we want to arrive. But it is our obligation to come back to telemarketing saying, please don't cheat this process. I mean, I know not everybody's going to allow you to be perfectly through it, but if somebody is saying yes to an appointment, you can grab that bull by the horns, even if they're rushing. Look it, indulge me, please. Answer a few questions, because when I send Danny, when I send Gail, when I send Chris, when I send Adam, when I send whomever, they want to do the best job possible for you in the house. So the more information that I know about your situation, the better they can advise you, the better they can guide you. And that's true. Okay? That's just 100% true. I'm not a theoretician. Is that right? I made that word up. I'm not theoretical. I'm a practitioner. I know what it's like to arrive in this house to give good advice in a short window of time. And if I'm not set up for that, it makes my job really difficult, and I don't leave them the best I could. And I feel that heavy obligation to walk out of every presentation, getting the listing or not, to have left them far better than I found them. And I know when that happens, it's when we follow the yellow brick road, right? And the yellow brick road is not my opinion. It has been beaten on. I've been doing this for 20 years. What I've learned, what I've taken to the field, what I've heard people coach on, it's a formula that fully allows the human being, the hero or the heroine on the other side of the phone and in the house, to be served better. All right, on to the next call. Pat, here we go.
Hello?
Hello, Sylvie?
Yes, speaking.
Hi, Sylvie. It's Patrick calling from Remax. How are you?
Oh, not too bad, thanks.
Good. I'm calling because I got your request for a free home evaluation at your property at 13 Spruce Crescent.
Yes.
Okay, so I just need a little bit more information about the home. That way I can get that sent off to you by email. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. So, is that's a single, or is that it?
Those are row houses, the townhouse.
Okay, perfect. And how many bedrooms?
I have 2 bedrooms.
2 beds. And bathrooms?
1 powder room, 1 full bath.
Okay. And is the basement finished?
Basement is finished.
Okay. Is there a garage attached to the home?
Yes, there is.
Perfect. Single garage?
Yes.
Okay. And how you lived there?
I've been here 8 years. My husband's been here since 2001.
Okay, since 2001. And you guys were looking for an evaluation. Were you thinking about maybe moving the next little bit, or?
My husband passed away in November, and I had it up for sale through Codwell.
Okay.
And of course, it needed to be painted, and a few things needed to be done. I've upgraded the eavesdrops. I've had the garage door readjusted, and because it's electric. Had the whole inside of the house painted, finished the bathroom. Everything is impeccable now. The only thing is that I want to add to this, Pat, is I'm not going to be living in the area. So I just bought brand new furniture. Is it possible to quote with all the furniture that's in it?
Yeah, of course. So basically, you can negotiate that into the price if you wish. I mean, some people might want it, some people might not.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's going to come up to what type of buyer you're going to be dealing with. But obviously,
right.
you can advertise it with the furniture and put the price up a little bit, and then someone might bite on it. And if they don't, then obviously you negotiate down on the price, and then you might have to find something to do with the furniture. I'll be honest with you. I don't know, right? But one thing that's good for you, Sylvie, is that since last year in 2018, housing prices have gone up about 5 or 6% in your area.
All right.
They've gone up about 12% in some parts of Ottawa. So they're quite high right now for you. Did you have an idea when you guys want to be out of the house?
Well, I'm all by myself, so I can get out of the house any night.
Okay. And do you think that finding out exactly what the house is worth in this market would help you make your decision?
Yes.
Okay. And are you typically more available during the day or during the evening?
I'm always here.
You're always home?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me see here. Would you be able to do Thursday morning?
Thursday morning would be fine.
Okay. So Thursday around, let's say, 11 o'clock?
That would be perfect.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at all the properties similar to yours that have sold in the area, especially lately. That way we can print off the pictures and the price and all that. You'll be able to take a peek at those.
Right.
More importantly, we'll look at the condition of the property and the upgrades that you've done, and we'll be able to let you know exactly what it's worth.
Okay.
This is free, and it does not obligate you to work with us if you don't feel comfortable.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, Patrick, give me your phone number just in case something happens on Thursday.
Yeah, of course. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a confirmation email right now, and all my coordinates will be at the bottom.
Perfect.
Okay, so I just need a couple more questions from you here. Just for expectation, what were you hoping to sell the property for this year?
Well, with the furniture, I would like somewhere around the 260.
Okay.
I've got $30,000 worth of furniture here.
$30,000 worth of furniture?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll put a range here, 230 to 260 in parenthesis furniture.
Mhm.
Okay. So.
And they're not old; they're only a month old.
They're only a month old. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're just out of curiosity, where are you moving to?
Heading west.
You're heading west.
Yes.
Okay. You wouldn't be driving, would you?
Not right now. No, I'm flying out.
You're flying out. Okay.
I will be driving though later on.
Okay. So I see here you had it up for 205 and then dropped it to 199 last year. How much money have you put into it since then?
Oh my God! I put the eavesdrop on.
Yeah.
I had some of the electrical done. I had an oven put in. Everything was painted.
Yeah.
I got the bathroom upstairs completed. I don't know how much. It's part of it.
Okay, so I want to confirm here your email address. What is it?
Sylvie.Lapierre.
Yeah.
All right, we good from there, Pat? Does he just go into details? Pat? Sarah, Pat? Somebody?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pat, are you there?
The appointment at that point.
Pat?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, bud. Okay. Hey guys, we got a live mic there. I don't know who's talking in the background, but I wanna get into this with Pat. Hello. Hang on. Okay, I fixed it. Pat, intro was spectacular.
Yeah.
I mean, your intro was just spectacular. I mean, your ability to converse in an engaging, familiar way to make me feel comfortable is a 10 out of 10.
Charismatic.
Yeah, just really, I mean, textbook good. Your first opening beat, okay? Bravo. I think you could be a 10 out of 10 all the way through. And I think it's going to be the same problem as it was with Sarah. And you've had the benefit of being around us a little bit longer than her. But with Sarah Corey and making it clear to all the team leaders, the questionnaire is messy. As was mine. It was out of order. The ability to roll somebody through, it's messy. And it's causing you to go where you are perfectly on these grease skids in the opening beat. It's causing you to go way off into all this filler, right? Where all your conversations, kind of weird, but you guys must be being trained to say this because you both did it. It's kind of weird how far you guys go into how the market's doing, right? That surprised me on both calls because there was a lot of that, right? And I think my attitude is the market is good for any seller who's prepared whenever. That's my attitude. You need to sell on a scale of 1 to 10. The market's good if you listen to me. Okay. That doesn't mean that I'm going to get into some big dissertation. You're not asking me to sell 3 years ago or 2 years into the future. You're saying I'm a 10 out of 10 now. I'm going to coach you how to get the top dollar now, regardless of the circumstances. I'm not saying that it's not a nice professional thing to put in my package, because I do. I have the one-page infographic of what's going on in the marketplace to give them some info. I might make one quick beat conversation about that, but that gets confusing because it goes away from me, meaning me and my house, to often some weird place about the market that I just don't think you need. But I think because your questions aren't in order, you are buying yourself some time with that. Okay. And then what I loved is I almost paused it and said, oh, you're just getting this, but you came back, Pat. You came back to the pertinent questions and you got the right answers. How much do you think it's worth? When are you going? But it was just so, out of order that it caused there to be fillers. So if you just had a better, and I'm going to hold it up in front of the Facebook group and on the YouTube channel, there's an order to the questions. She took you out of order while you could have been writing down that stuff. You could have just hit it on the way by again. So we already talked about the upgrading. So you did a bunch of stuff. By the way, did you keep the receipts for all that stuff? Boom, off of it. Because you would have had it. You would have been writing. When she was going off, she actually was very helpful to you. She gave you a whole bunch of stuff, reading her mind out loud without having to provoke her. So you fill it in. Husband died. Reason for selling. Okay. Hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, sounds like you might be a 10 to sell this. Yeah. You going west? You're a 10. Boom. How much do you think it's worth? $260. Okay. But I want to sell it furnished. You went off. There was another word whisker there. Can I sell it furnished? Yes. End of story. Yes. Yes, you can sell it furnished if that's what you want. But to get into, we might get some buyer that does this and that. Leave that for outside sales. Outside sales can discuss that when they get there. But on the inside sales, it's just don't go there because you're giving her so much. She's in such a rhythm with you. This was a beautiful tennis match. Boom, 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 boom. It was going back and forth. And those two mega word whiskers were like, time out. And you ruined the rhythm. Yeah, you ruined the rhythm, right? And you didn't need them, Pat. And I think it's more so, it's not because of you. It's because what you're working from is not as organized as it could be. I found that to be the truth in my own office. And only it's in the last 120 days did we refine it. In fact, I looked at it and I said to Laura, that's not the right one. That's not the right one. That's not the right one. Rain Man again, right? Because I found I know we put another line in there because we had left it out or the printer had left it out. So the order of things, why are you thinking about selling? Really? On a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you? When did you buy it? What'd you pay? Did you do any upgrading? Right? What's the best feature? Why do you like living there? What do you think the property's worth? What's most important to you in selling this? Right? Have you interviewed anybody else? When can we come over? Boom, 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 boom. It just keeps it evolving to ta-da, it's appointment time. Right? But dude, you are so raw talented on the phone. I mean, you just are, are brilliant when you're on. And you got to stay on like that, man. You got to keep your head in the game and stay on. Because when you are on, you're a savant. But your system is banged up a little bit, and that's on Sarah and I to clean it up, okay? So the combination is when you bring the best version of Pat to the game, Pat, I'm not so sure I've heard anybody better. How about that for a compliment? You're a 5 gold star natural. But dude,
thanks, Danny.
Yeah, brother. But when you get off in the the poppy fields with Dorothy, you're not that guy anymore. Right. And when your head's not in the game, I've heard you feel down some days. You got to find a beat where you can get your state changed and say, these guys that are pros said I'm good at this, and that's the state I need to get myself in, no matter how I'm feeling that day, no matter what's going on. And then I got to stick to the formula. Then you're a 10. Got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Bravo. Proud of you, though. That was really
when
some
we were
chunks
just on the call, I noticed that I had the wrong questionnaire, and I pulled it off the Teachable, so I'll bring it over to them.
Yes, so please do. We do make sure that's the right one that's up there, too, on Teachable. So just if it's not, check with Sarah again and get it. Let's just, because I know we made a bunch of adjustments. I think it's up there, but if it's not, Laura will double check that everybody has the most recent one, as evolved, by the way, by this group, not my opinion. Okay? So, but just 2 good calls, Sarah, Pat, and of course, Dave. You're all good. And I tell you, I know I can help you by getting you to stick to the yellow brick road. What do you hear your own calls edited by sticking to the yellow brick road? All of you are good in your own ways, your own styles. You're all 3 different. Now, Sarah, you move through swiftly. Dave, Pat, you sound like everybody's best friend. And Dave, you just huge heart. I can feel it every time you talk to people, right? So stylistically, you will allow yourself to have fun doing this job and be there more so. I think that saps energy. You know, when they go off on those word whispering tours, I think it saps their energy. I think it's going to take away from the rest of their day, having like, whew, right? You come out of that.
The more you say on the phone,
yeah,
gotta keep it very precise.
Yeah, concise, which was what she says.
Yes.
I've stuck on that word ever since I heard it because we've been teaching it for years. Less is more. It's that simplest it can be without being too simple and cheating something out of it, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? I have felt through this script when it's done, I am cheated of nothing in those couple of appointments I told you I came back from. I was so perfectly set up because we killed ourselves to get this right, right? Mm-hmm. Cool. All right, I'm going to squeeze in a little bonus time here today because I did tell Kayla, you still there with me?
I'm here, yes.
All right, so we're going to try to take a look at one of your calls that Chris sent, and let's just see. I'll just randomly pick one of the three, and let's see what this sounds like. Oh, Chris, you sent me a login to Vulcan. That's not going to work, I don't think. Yeah, you sent me a login. These aren't live. These aren't live links.
I downloaded the links. You know how to send them to you other than downloading the link.
I need a call. If you can zip me one over, I'll bang one out quickly. Can you? What are you going to do? You're going to email it to me?
Yeah. So none of those three links that I clicked on work for you. They'll go straight to.
No, they ask me for a login, Chris. I'll try. Let me try another one. Let me see. Yeah, no, they're asking me to log in. Let's do this though. I don't want to rush her. We're 10 minutes over. She's up next week. Okay. So and you know what? If Kayla, if you want to get a fresh one, now that you've learned what you learned, I'd rather hear everybody have a fresh one. I want Autumn in my office to have some fresh ones from this week. My gang in Ottawa. Donna, if you can get one. Jessica, if you can get one because you're brand new. Again, if I can hear, then we can get you into the systematic approach that will refine. And again, remember why I'm teaching the system. Let me leave everybody with this thought. Over the years, I have understood deeper and deeper and deeper the importance of sticking to a yellow brick road. It's because the consumer is the greatest teacher of all. They teach us what they want and need. It is up to us to develop a system that allows the process to be the best for them because they're the hero. So what we're working from is something that's been born out of that mindset. So I want you all to take it into the field this week, record me some of those, that using this formula so that if this formula needs a tweak, as a group, we will do so. All right. But bravo, bravo, bravo to my team in Canada. Awesome. Donna, thank you so much for smart questions there today that really led us in the direction. Okay. Good job, everybody. Have a fabulous, productive weekend. Look forward to next week when we do this again. Remember, put on your calendars. All of you are welcome on the campfire call, which is a bi-weekly about the basics. I will hammer the seller course so you know what you're selling in the house. All right, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, Danny.
You're welcome.